Okay, so I do have a brand new DCEU update for you guys today, and this is going to be kind of piggybacking off of the story I did over the weekend. And is Henry Cavill back as Superman, or is he not? You guys probably saw that things blew up on the internet over the weekend, and I'm going to talk about James Gunn and another YouTuber who goes by the Den of Nerds. And I'm going to talk about this situation, and I'm going to talk about some of the things he talked about, and I want to talk about the reality of the situation and look at this from a middle-of-the-road perspective, okay? Because we got people just freaking out on both sides. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about what happened shortly after all that crap hit the fan on the weekend. You had Warner Brothers come out and release the first still from the new Joker movie. So the Joker 2 is absolutely in production, and they did give us a picture. So here is the first official picture from the Joker 2. Looks like he is in Arkham Asylum. You can see whatever this person's wearing looks like an officer suit or a warden suit, something like that. And he is getting shaved. So you can see he's back to being very skinny and kind of scrawny there. So he did slip back into the Joker role. So this was the first look at the Joker 2. Well, not the Joker, just Joker 2. So that's the first kind of minor story. Outside of that, outside of what I'm about to talk about, there hasn't been a whole lot posted on the internet in general. But let's talk about this Den of Nerds, James Gunn situation. And Den of Nerds is somebody that I watch sometimes because of his Star Wars stuff. And I want you guys to know going into this, he is a Marvel and a Star Wars fan. I am a Star Wars and a DC fan. I could talk about both of those franchises inside and out. But we're going to focus on the DC side today. Now, he did admit, he did a video after this all went down. When I posted about that Hollywood Reporter article and James Gunn shutting him down saying, you know, he doesn't hate Henry Cavill, I thought that I didn't know who it was until I actually went in and saw the remarks and saw that it was this other YouTube channel. And I thought, holy crap. So I will tell you that the guy who runs that channel has milked this. He did a live stream all about this today. He did a 20-minute video later that day on this whole situation. And make no mistake, he is milking it for the views. I tried to watch his videos, but this guy does not know anything about DC. He supposedly had a couple of insiders go to him and tell him that James Gunn does not like Henry Cavill and refuses to work with him. I still believe that Henry Cavill does have a contract and he will be back as Superman. But I want to talk about why I believe that's going to happen. And, you know, the individual who runs the Den of Nerds, he came in and talked about different times where he said James Gunn has lied to the fandom. And he's kind of right almost, but not exactly. I mean, he talked about stuff that hasn't come to fruition with DC, so there's no way to verify whether that's true or not. But here's why I think Henry Cavill is going to be back. You would literally have to be stupid in the head, retarded. I'm just going to come out and say it. You would have to have marbles missing not to bring Henry Cavill back as Superman. The one thing that everybody agrees across the board is that Henry Cavill makes a great Superman. Zaslav, when he was taking over, said Superman is going to be his #1 priority. He doesn't know how the most powerful character in comics has been shoved in the back room for so long, and that he was going to bring him out of the closet, bring him back out into the open, and make him front and center. Everything we've seen so far has led to that conclusion. What we do know for a fact, he was in Black Adam. Okay? He actually went to Zaslav. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson went to Zaslav personally and went behind everybody to get this to happen, and Zaslav agreed for it to happen. Zaslav loves Superman. He actually loves the Trinity. He's mentioned that several times. Henry Cavill then went on a press junket saying that there was more to come. He did a social media post. I did post that in that video. I showed you his actual video, and he said there's more to come. And then he was on this talk show and actually mentioned Gunn and said he was excited for Gunn's vision and what was to come in the future. So I believe he definitely has a contract at this stage. I think there's more proof to say that he has a contract than he doesn't. Now, could there be a possibility that he doesn't have a contract? I mean, there could be, but that would have to be one of the dumbest things you could do as an actor, to go out and do all of this, and nobody came out to correct him. Like, there were no statements made by Warner Brothers saying, no, he's wrong. In fact, when he did his original social media post, I've mentioned this several times, Warner Brothers Discovery shared his post. DC Comics liked his post. If he didn't have a contract, why would they do that when he's sitting there saying this is what is going on for the future? There is still a very slim possibility, though, that he didn't have a contract. I think that is extremely slim. Like I said, there is way more proof to show that he is back than he isn't. But you would have to be the dumbest you-know-what on the planet not to bring Henry Cavill back. You would be leaving money on the table. Like, you would have to be seriously stupid in the head. I don't think James Gunn is that dumb. I don't think David Zaslav is that dumb. You have to remember there is a 5-person committee involved with all of this. They all have to agree. And maybe Gunn, maybe he doesn't like Henry Cavill. I mean, there's a good possibility that that could be the case. Maybe he doesn't like Cavill. And if he doesn't like Cavill, that's fine, but he's one of 5 people. Let's say Safran doesn't like him. There's still 3 other people. And the ones that okayed him being in Black Adam were Abdi, DeLuca, and Zaslav. It's a 5-person committee. To convince the other 3 that he's not coming back and they're going in a completely different direction, you'd have to be a pretty strong persuader for that to happen. And I'm still wondering how James Gunn got this position in the first place. Like, somebody made the point, and this is a good point, that everybody that has come over to DC from Marvel has done nothing but harm the DC brand. And I would have to agree with that. The track record is not good. And I'm still very worried about what James Gunn is going to do. I still think we have a lot of positive things to look forward to in the future, but there is a possibility that he could blow everything up. So they could go the route of just rebooting everything, which I think is a huge mistake, because I don't want to invest the time to get to know new characters in these iconic roles. And my gosh, you would have to do some pretty amazing casting. The one thing that Zack Snyder did that I think everybody can agree across the board is he brought together an amazing cast. Now, obviously, Ezra Miller has had his issues, but outside of that, I've been reading Batman comics since 1987, and I have never seen anybody embody Batman better than Ben Affleck. Minus all the killing he did in Batman vs. Superman, he still is like literally ripped out of the comics. They haven't done that with any other iteration of Batman on film at all. People talk about the Nolan films. Yeah, those were great films, and I adore those films, and I think they are freaking amazing. But that's like a real-life version of Batman where Superman would not belong in that world at all. As far as a comic book version of Batman, that is Ben Affleck all the way. So Zack Snyder was able to bring in an amazing group of people into the fold. I don't think we need to recast these people or start over. Build upon what's already there. They could definitely configure the story in whatever direction they want to go in, keeping the same cast of characters that they have. I don't think anybody is interested in a complete reboot. But that's the only other way this could work. If you don't bring all of these characters back, there's no option other than to reboot the whole thing. And the one thing I don't want to see is I definitely don't want to see Pattinson's Batman be the Batman going forward. I enjoyed that movie, but that movie is extremely flawed, both as a Bruce Wayne character and a Batman character. There were issues on both sides. That is definitely not my favorite interpretation of Batman by any stretch of the imagination. And there were some flaws to that movie that were ridiculous. I don't want to see them build into that, and I know that's not what the director of the Batman wants. He has come out many times and fought very hard to keep it separate. So they said, everyone's basing this off of there's not going to be 4 Batman running around. Well, we know that they canceled what they were going to do with Michael Keaton, so all we have left is Pattinson and Affleck. And I really think that's the direction they need to focus on. And you would have to be extremely stupid. You would have to be completely unplugged from what is happening out there, or you just have to have a massive vendetta like Hamada did not to want to bring these characters back. And I could tell you, man, if he goes the route of getting rid of Cavill because of a personal vendetta and he actually gets the other people to agree, that is going to spell nothing but doom and anger from so many fans. And James Gunn came out and said he's not going to be able to please everybody. Well, that is your main fan base. You cannot piss off the main fan base. Superman Henry Cavill's Superman is some of the best casting I've seen in a very long time when it came to characters. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is another one, and I love Ben Affleck as Batman. These 3 characters do not need to be recast. Do not do that. I think it would be incredibly stupid and a horrible mistake to recast these characters. All right, what are your guys' thoughts on everything that happened over the weekend? I look forward to more information coming out, and I will be bringing you everything. That special meeting is supposed to be this week, and we will see what comes out of that meeting and what else gets released to the public for people to talk about. I do appreciate it. We'll see you on the next video.